A wildlife researcher had been visiting the same monkey troop for nearly 4 months. He had followed every protocol, moved slowly, avoided direct eye contact in the early weeks, never brought food, never intervened in social disputes. He was, by every measure, a neutral presence, an observer, nothing more. Then one morning, something changed. A juvenile at the edge of the group was being pushed away from a food source by an older, more dominant individual. Standard social hierarchy. The kind of interaction that happens dozens of times a day in any primate group. The researcher had seen it hundreds of times before and never reacted. But this time, 3 adult members of the troop turned and looked directly at him. Not at the conflict, at him. They were not asking for help. They were not displaying distress. They were doing something far more significant. They were checking his response, waiting to see how he would read the situation, using him as a social reference point. In that moment, without ever intending it, the researcher had been assigned a position in the troop's social hierarchy, and it was not a low one. Welcome to Primal Mind. In previous videos, we explored how monkeys remember you, read your intentions, detect your honesty, and decide whether to trust you. Today, we go one step further into one of the most remarkable phenomena in all of human-primate interaction. What happens when a monkey group doesn't just tolerate your presence, but begins to treat you as a figure of social authority? This is not a domestication story. These are wild animals, operating within their own complex social structures, making their own decisions about where an unfamiliar individual fits within those structures. And what the science reveals about how and why this happens, and what it means for both the human and the animals, is one of the most psychologically rich subjects in all of primatology. Because being chosen as a leader by a monkey group is not something you can force. It cannot be trained or performed. It can only be earned. And the process by which it happens reveals everything about how primate social intelligence actually work. Before we can understand what it means for a monkey to choose you as a leader, we need to dismantle a common misconception about what primate leadership actually is. Most people imagine primate leadership as pure physical dominance. The biggest, strongest individual at the top, everyone else below. A simple hierarchy maintained by force. The reality is far more nuanced and far more interesting. Physical size and strength play a role, particularly in certain species. But long-term field research has consistently shown that the most stable, most effective leaders in primate groups are not always the most physically imposing individuals. They are the most socially intelligent ones. The individuals who are most consistent in their behavior, most reliable in their responses, most effective at managing group tension, arbitrating disputes, and projecting a calm that allows the group to function without constant conflict. Primatologist Frans de Waal documented this extensively in his decades of chimpanzee research. That alpha status, when held by genuinely effective leaders, was maintained less through intimidation than through social competence. The ability to read the group, to respond appropriately, to be the stable center around which others could orient. This is the definition of leadership that monkeys apply to other monkeys and, under the right circumstances, to humans. The first sign that a monkey group is beginning to assign you a leadership position is a behavior called social referencing. Social referencing is the act of looking to another individual to interpret an ambiguous or uncertain situation. In human infants, it appears around 9 months of age. A baby encounters something unfamiliar, looks to its caregiver's face to read their emotional response, and uses that information to calibrate its own reaction. Safe or dangerous? Interesting or threatening? The caregiver's face provides the answer. In primates, social referencing toward dominant or trusted individuals is a continuous feature of group life. When something ambiguous happens, an unfamiliar sound, an unexpected movement, a novel object in the environment, group members look to high-ranking individuals to read their reaction before committing to their own. When a monkey group begins socially referencing a human, turning to look at them during uncertain moments, checking their face and body language before deciding how to respond, something profound has occurred. The human has entered the group's social map not as a neutral observer, but as a source of reliable social information, as someone whose reading of a situation carries weight. This is not submission, it is not dependency. It is the precise behavioral expression of social trust extended to an individual the group has decided is worth listening to. The second sign is proximity seeking, and it is distinct from the proximity tolerance we discussed in our trust video. Proximity tolerance is passive. The animal allows you to be near. Proximity seeking is active. The animal chooses to be near you and specifically positions itself close to you during moments of social tension or uncertainty within the group. This behavior has deep roots in primate social psychology. In a monkey troop, physical proximity to a high-ranking individual is a form of social insurance. Being close to someone powerful when conflict arises means being under their implicit protection. It signals to other group members that this individual has a relationship with someone significant. When group members begin consistently moving toward a human during tense social moments, positioning themselves between the human and a conflict, or simply sitting closer than usual when the group dynamic is unstable, they are using that human as a social anchor, a stabilizing presence, the behavioral equivalent of standing next to the person in the room you trust most when things get uncertain. For a researcher experiencing this for the first time, it is one of the most striking moments in all of field primatology. The realization that an animal has assigned you not just a place in its world, but a meaningful one. The third sign is the most remarkable, and the one that most clearly mirrors human social behavior. Dispute referral. In stable primate groups, social conflicts between lower-ranking individuals are frequently managed not by the individuals themselves, but by higher-ranking group members who intervene, or whose mere presence causes the conflict to de-escalate. The social authority of a dominant individual acts as a regulating force across the entire group dynamic. When a monkey group begins orienting toward a human during internal disputes, not to recruit the human's direct intervention, but simply turning toward them, checking their presence, allowing their proximity to influence the conflict's trajectory, the group is functionally using that human as a social regulator. Field researchers have documented this in long-term integration studies. A dispute breaks out between two group members. Before it escalates, one or both animals glance toward the human observer. The human's calm, neutral presence, simply being there, showing no alarm, functioned as a de-escalatory signal. The conflict subsides faster than it would have without that reference point. The human did nothing active, but their position in the group's social map made their passive presence socially meaningful. That is what leadership in a primate context actually looks like at its most sophisticated level, not the exercise of force, but the influence of presence. Here's where the science carries a critical warning. Being assigned a leadership position in a monkey group comes with behavioral obligations, and violating them has consequences. Primate leaders are expected to be consistent. Any sudden departure from established behavioral patterns, unexpected movements, emotional displays, unpredictable reactions, registers as a failure of the stability that leadership is supposed to provide. It damages the social model the group has built of you and requires the trust-building process to begin again. Primate leaders are expected to be calm under pressure. A leader who shows visible alarm when the group is uncertain does not calm the group. It amplifies the group's anxiety. Researchers who have experienced sudden startle responses in the field, a loud noise, an unexpected animal, describe the group's immediate orientation toward them to check their reaction. If the human shows panic, the group's stress level rises sharply. And critically, primate leaders do not interfere randomly in social disputes. Inconsistent intervention, helping one individual in one conflict, ignoring a similar conflict the next day, undermines the predictability that leadership depends on. The group's model of you becomes unreliable, and an unreliable leader in primate social psychology is not a leader for long. Step back from the field research and look at what it collectively tells us. The qualities that lead a monkey group to assign leadership to a human are not physical. They are not performative. They cannot be faked over time. They are consistency, predictability, emotional stability, reliable responsiveness to social signals, and the capacity to project calm in uncertain situations. These are not qualities unique to primate leadership. They are the foundational qualities of effective leadership in every social species that has been studied, including humans. The research on human leadership effectiveness consistently returns to the same variables: trustworthiness, consistency, emotional regulation, the ability to remain stable when others are not. What the primate research reveals is that these qualities did not emerge from human wisdom or cultural development. They were selected for by evolution across millions of years of social primate life because groups led by individuals with these qualities survived and thrived better than groups led by individuals without them. We did not invent good leadership. We inherited the template for it from a lineage of social primates who had already worked out, long before us, exactly what it looks like. The researcher who found himself being used as a social reference point by a wild monkey troop did not set out to become a leader. He set out to observe, to be neutral, to leave no footprint on the social world he was studying. But primate social intelligence does not allow for true neutrality. Every individual who enters a social group, human or otherwise, gets evaluated, categorized, and assigned a position. The question is never whether you will have a place in the group's social map. The question is only what kind of place it will be. What that researcher discovered, and what decades of primatology has confirmed, is that the qualities which earn a position of social trust and authority in a monkey group are not exotic or unfamiliar. They are deeply recognizable, because they are the same qualities that earn trust and authority in every social context, in every species that evolution has ever produced. Show up consistently, be predictable, stay calm when others are not. Respond to social signals honestly. Be a stable presence in an uncertain world. A monkey group will notice. They always do. Stay curious. Stay primal.